Hello, everyone. I am talking to a wonderful man and a very innovative musician who is helping to change the face of classical music. That is Noam Sivan, whose name I may mispronounce, but I know who the guy is. And Noam, would you introduce yourself to my audience?
Hello, Beth. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to talk to you and to improvise together with you. My name is Noam Sivan. I'm a pianist and composer, and my passion in life is to help revive the art of improvisation, which I have been doing for a long time now, both in my home country in Israel, in the United States, where I lived for a long time, and now in Germany, where I am right now, in Stuttgart, Germany. So this is who I am: pianist, composer, improviser.
And classical pianist, composer, improviser. Not jazz, not that he couldn't play jazz, but I mean, this is what's really breaking through. And really, I think that when you think about that, the freedom of improvisation, right, is like the freeing of the being from the traditions and from everything. I mean, if you were thinking of it as a spiritual thing, like God is speaking through music, would you say that God had everything to say 100 years ago and has nothing to say today? So, so I'm so thrilled to have Noam here. So I would like to start with a question, which I just forewarned him that I was going to ask him, which is, what do you feel? And when I talk about spirituality, I am not talking about religion in any way. And even when I use the word God, I didn't mean like the old man with the beard. I really just kind of mean this universal energy that seems to be behind creation. And so, Noam, what do you see? I'm sorry, it's hard for me to talk without playing the piano. What, what do you see as the connection between music and spirituality?
Yeah, this is really a wonderful question, and I am going to answer it. But before that, I'm going to play a few notes.
Go right ahead. Oh,
Back to your question, Beth, about music and spirituality. Music is the most abstract art form. And in our lives, we have a lot of things which give us meaning. But most of the things which give us meaning relate to things that we can touch and feel and understand and comprehend, and and we and we need those things in order to function, in order to live our lives. But when we discuss spirituality, we go beyond the realm of all of those objects. And music is an abstract art form, and the purpose of music is to awaken emotions. And actually, the reason I wanted to start the answer with playing the piano, and specifically with playing individual sounds that emerge gradually, and the meaning of those notes is only understood later on as everything unfolds. So there is this quest for meaning. There is this quest for the continuation of what the music is going to do. It is a language. Yes, it is a language. They started with one note, and this one note connected to other notes, and together they started creating the relationships, and melodies, and the harmonies, and all of those things. But it is an abstract language because it does not represent anything in our visual world. It is a non-representational language. And as such, it relates to spiritual aspects of our lives. And it's very difficult to describe it in words, of course. But we have seen throughout history for hundreds of years, thousands, I don't know even how long, but people feel a special connection with music. And it is used in the most important ceremonies in life. In when you have a funeral, when you have a wedding, when you have a birth, when you have, of course, religious services, when you have gatherings of many people together, when you, in all kinds of situations, music is part of that. Not always, not everywhere, but it has its special place. And also there is a place of just music, going to a concert,
Yeah.
listening, playing, making music at home. There is all of those different usages. So it can be functional when it is part of another ceremony or another event, but it can be also its own universe. And you can experience music in so many different ways. You can listen to it, you can play it, you can write it down, you can compose music, and you can also hear it inside. There is the inner ear that we can actually hear things going on. And of course, we need that ability, otherwise we would not be able to compose. But we can also remember music that we heard in the past. We can talk about music with other people. There are all of those different things, and music is there. But at the same time, we cannot touch it.
That's right. You're
It's
talking
so,
about
yeah.
how it is both an individual experience and a social experience. Because we have our own individual experience of the music, but it's used in so many social ways, even just talking about it with people, sharing, and so on. By the way, I had to play a few notes after you because, as the music is an abstract language, I couldn't answer you in words. I had to answer you in music because that was the only way to do that. I love what you're saying, and using the word spirit for a moment, that's kind of because we're improvising this interview, right? Uh, we're just following the breadcrumbs. Uh, what is the spirit anyway? I don't really know what it is, but it is something that I think we all know we have, and that's something that we can't define either. And we feel that spirit, and I think that music can truly connect us deeply to our own spirits in a way that a lot of other things can't. That it's so direct. It's coming into your body through your ears, and it is so direct, and it goes deep into your spirits. You know, I don't want to hog the time, but I just want to mention that because of what you said, that I'm working on this website that should be coming out. By the time people hear this, the website might be out. That I'm using music for healing,
Yeah.
and it actually penetrates the brain, and it's what you're talking about. It, in a way, it's like music impacts us on the unconscious level,
Yes.
and we
And
cannot control it.
and people often talk about what is the meaning of music in our lives, because we have in the world, in society, we have so many problems, from personal problems to societal problems. We have poverty, we have diseases, we have pandemics, of course, we have those, we have wars, hostility, hatred, we have climate crisis, we have lots of different things that are happening in the world. And then we have personal sufferings, the loss of a loved one, feeling isolation, feeling social seclusion, feeling being mistreated, lots of different things, both personal and in terms of society at large. And when we talk about solutions, the solutions are often not in music. The practical solutions are in economic solutions, political solutions, medical solutions, all kinds of things that offer practical solutions. Music is not part of the solution to those things. But then when we think about the role of music and the meaning of music, and what you said, that it acts subconsciously, and that the purpose of it is to awaken our emotions. And for me, also, the purpose of it is to inspire us to be better human beings. Because when we listen to music, of course, not any music and not in any situation, and we have to be receptive, and it has to be the right kind of music that speaks to us. But if all of those conditions are there, and it is the right kind of music, and we are in the right mindset, and we listen to it, and we're ready to receive it, and then it gives us motivation to be better people, it makes us stronger, then we have the strength from inside to deal with all of those things. And that's where you start talking about music as healing. And there have been so many stories, and it's been documented how music has been used in various situations to help people overcome difficult personal circumstances and all of those things. So yes, music has these powers. Of course, there is a question, when do we use it? How do we use it? What do we do with it? And what improvisation has to do with all of this?
Well, that is a great point to get to next, because I could get lost in what you just said, but we're moving things along, right? We're not going to be here for hours. As much fun that would be. Yes. What does improvisation have to do with that? And how is improvisation actually part of the healing process itself?
Yeah, so actually, maybe I will also play a little example before the next answer. So, of course, you can recognize easily the first thing that I played, but then when I take the same material or something similar, and then it goes elsewhere, there is an element of creativity, and there is an element of playing with the material, which makes the music making alive and in the moment. It is being created in the moment. So improvisation is creativity in music, and creativity emphasizes, it does so many different things, but I will mention several things that I think are really important. One of them is being in the moment. In our lives, there is the past and there is the future. We worry about things that happened. We make plans for things that will happen in the future, but very often we forget really being in the moment. We need to be fully present in our lives, listening, concentrate on what we're doing, and just experiencing the moment in the best possible way and doing what we're doing at that moment, at this moment, in the best possible way. And this is not only in music, in everything that we're doing. So this is one important thing. Another important thing is about the role of creativity. Also today, with technology, with everything that we have, with the abundance of entertainment that we get, with all the information that is coming at us in such speed and pace that we cannot keep up, this leads us to being passive. And we are not creative enough. When we want to find answers, instead of thinking for ourselves, we ask Dr. Google to give us answers. And instead, we should use our own skills, our own creativity, and improvisation in music emphasizes this aspect of life, that we should be creative in music and in other aspects of life. So it is just very crucial part of being musicians, but also creativity is a crucial part of everything we're doing in life, because it makes our lives richer and it touches all the aspects of what we're doing in life.
I agree with that. And I would like to add another aspect of that, which is that in the connection of improvisation and healing, is that two things actually come to mind. One is, to me, what healing is really becoming whole, is becoming who we really are, and letting go of a lot of the socially required ways of being that have nothing to do with what is healthy, what is good. I mean, one of my perfect examples is, women wearing high-heeled shoes. I mean, that's insane. It's insane, and yet you can't get women off those high-heeled shoes. They're not
Social
good.
expectations.
What's that?
Social expectations.
Exactly. So, we're taking something which is very common, very typical, but think about how much of our behavior from the time we're children is social expectations about how to behave, what to think, and so on. And so when we improvise, we're being told, okay, do it, like you're saying, create something. So how are you going to get that? So you're going to get that by connecting to yourself. And it may take people a while to connect to themselves. But when they do, then they're finding that being inside that feels, that thinks, as you're saying. And from that point, that person is now free to start examining the world from the inside, not from having to meet somebody else's idea of who they are. And I mean, that is so clearly the case in music, where, there's a right way to play it and then there's a wrong way to play it. And when you're improvising, you kind of get around all of that because you're creating something. And so that is a very big part of healing, is for us to actually connect to ourselves. And music is a great way that we do that. And I can't remember my second point, but I probably should let you comment anyway.
Yeah, one of my students just told me this a few days ago. I am running an improvisation ensemble, interdisciplinary ensemble between musicians and dancers and actors and painters and just all the different arts combined together. And one of the participants who just finished working with us and is moving on in his life, and he said that what the experience of being in the ensemble opened for him this aspect of artistic collaboration and artistic creation, not as a way of right and wrong, but from the perspective of creativity, and in the case of the ensemble, of collaboration. And from there to ask really, what do we express? What is artistic expression? What do we express when we do those kinds of things? And so much of what we're doing is judgmental about right and wrong. And one of the problems that people have in dealing in improvisation with music is we have all of those beautiful pieces of music that are written and composed, and they say, well, this looks great, but if I'm going to start improvising, it's not going to be as good as that. What do I do? How do I get started? What do I do with it? And then there are so many negative emotions, because when you work with children, there's no problem. When they're 6, 7, 8, they just improvise and they have fun. this is my what I'm doing with my children, and they enjoy it. But when they get older, when they are in their 20s and 30s and older, there is all this baggage of
Yeah.
expectations of, oh, I cannot just feel that I'm a child in a sandbox. I need to do something that is good, and it has to be
Exactly.
good. And it comes from a positive it comes from a positive feeling, the positive feeling, I want to improve, I want to do better. And
Yeah.
that is a good thing. But
Yes.
then it is mixed with this negative aspect. Oh, because it's not good yet, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to touch it.
That's
I'm not
right.
going to try. And you have to find the right balance in this. And oh, how do you do it? How do you try? How do you improvise exercises? How do you do it step by step? How do you do something short? How do you create just melody, just the harmony, just this, just one element, and building your comfort level and building your skills step by step, which is what you have to do when you teach improvisation,
Right.
and help people to go through this journey, because it is not I mean, one thing is to improvise and to do this in concert, and then you connect with the listener, which
Hmm.
is also a very special kind of experience. But the other thing is to work with other people's creativity and to teach them and to help them and to guide them along the way, and then to see how their personality evolves in the process.
Oh, yes. I think that's incredibly important. And I want to go back to something you said a minute ago about collaboration. Our experiences, it's each man for himself. You know what I mean? And one of the biggest social changes that we need is to realize that we cannot be well in a sick world. And you cannot clean the air over one house in Los Angeles. Either the air is clean or it isn't. And you're not going to solve COVID with one person. You can't protect yourself. So what you're saying, collaboration is in itself the healing. It is the social change where we're learning how to rely on one another, how to love one another, and how to support, coming back to your last point, to support one another rather than to compete with one another all the time. It's like, because it's not just that I'm competing with myself. Oh, it's not good enough. It's like, oh, this one, Mary Jane is better. Or that one is, no, I'm better than she is. Is she better than I am? Can I get the prize? And so we don't learn how to collaborate. And so I think that's absolutely incredible. And I want to say one more thing about healing. And the time is flying. So when we play, let's say you're saying, how do you even start? So I notice you start with one note, and you can start with one note, and let's say just arbitrarily this note, and then you just listen to it, and then something happens. It could go anywhere, but where does it go? It's something in you is listening and feeling, and all of a sudden it's coming out the way it's supposed to for that moment, because you're connected to yourself, and you're connected to the deep part of yourself that comes out and knows where that, just knows what it should do. And it didn't come from your brain, and it didn't come from the outside world. It came from inside you. So there is an integrity and a willingness to be yourself that is developed, which also connects to what you're talking about not being too critical about ourselves, is willingness to be ourselves, to find expression. I understand that there is a world of professional, and I understand that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I listen to somebody playing, a Chopin piano concerto, and I go, I wish I could do that. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But I wouldn't trade that for being able to sit down and let my own soul express itself, and how it makes me feel on the inside, and how it could impact other people. So I'm not putting them down at all. I'm just saying it's something else, and it's very healing for me.
Yeah, and this one note that evolves can grow to so many different things. I maybe will play something now to show how it can be done.
You tell them. No, I think I better bring this to a close. I could talk to you forever, but we're trying to make this a reasonable length for people. Um,
I
how
will
do
just
people
say
get in
something
touch?
about
Yeah,
something about this because I just wanted to show how you can start with one thing and
yeah,
it can really grow in so many different ways, and the richness
yes,
of the possibilities of what we can do in improvisation, just the richness
yes,
itself
yes.
should be a motivating factor and not something that will prohibit us from doing it.
Right. It
So
shouldn't intimidate us. It should
yeah.
motivate us.
And you asked how people can get in touch with me.
Yes.
There is my website, noamsivanmusic.com.
Spelled.
Noam Sivan, Noamsivan. That is my name, noamsivanmusic.com. And as I said, I lived in New York for many years, for 18 years actually, when I was teaching at Juilliard and Curtis. And now I'm in Stuttgart, Germany, where I opened a master's degree in piano improvisation, which to my knowledge is the first, or at least one of the first such programs worldwide. And yes, as you said, I'm improvising from a perspective of a classical musician. So I think this is important because improvisation in jazz has flourished for long. Improvisation in classical music existed 200 years ago, but then
Right.
appeared, and it is upon us to bring it back because we have such a rich tradition of hundreds of years of repertoire, music that is still performed and is still relevant,
Yes.
but the language should come to life also as a language that is being spoken. When people speak the
Yes.
language, then it is alive even more than when you just perform those pieces from the past. So definitely, I advocate for the revival of improvisation, and but not only in classical music, in any
Yeah.
form
Yeah.
of music, improvisation as a form of creativity and collaboration and personal expression as a way to live the moment. So I would like to encourage people
Yes.
to bring it into their lives and to use that as a way to get connected to spirituality and to just have the motivation to be better people through this.
Yes, because the improvisation in the moment is what's going to move us forward, meaning we're hearing the message. We know who we are right now. We know what we're feeling right now. We need to express that right now, and we need to move forward right now from where we are. And I see improvisation as part of that because it is in the moment, which is so crucial. And we have to come up with solutions that we have never had before. Solutions to everything. So, Noam, it is such a pleasure talking to you. And I encourage our viewers to make their comments and share their experiences. And I hope that everybody felt really jazzed and said, "Yeah, I want to do that." And even if I can only go like this, it's the beginning, right? Everything starts with a small
The
step.
first step, exactly, exactly.
And you know something else? You can go like this, or you could go like this. In one, you're feeling something where you're actually connecting, and that's the beauty, that when you're improvising you really have, I mean, you don't have to, you can do anything mechanically, but you can really connect to yourself, and what a joy that is, and how
Yeah.
healing that is.
Listening, not just feeling, but listening,
Yes.
actively listening to the sound that comes
Yes.
out and being in the moment and listening. And
Right.
this is the starting point. Of course, there are many more things that
Yes.
you do in the
I
process,
know.
but this is the starting point.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Beth, to you in this wonderful endeavor that you're doing. I always, I wish you luck and lots of success. And I will also let my audience know when our healing music is going to be up. We have this website called healingartsexplosion.com. And it's about the the impact of the sound on our consciousness so that we can move more freely, more lovingly, more compassionately, more courageously into the future. So, Noam, you're wonderful, and I love what
Thank
you're
you.
doing, and I want to thank you so much. And is there anything you want to say before we go, or do you feel complete?
Thank you very much, Beth. This has been my pleasure. And yeah, and like I said, I want to encourage people to go into the path of improvisation.
Yes. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.